Namaste. I'll call this video Don't Blame God. I've talked about this before, and a lot of people will say, especially what we call religious people, why is God doing this? Why God must be upset with us? God must be really troubled by what we're doing. And personally, and this is my view, I'm not saying this should be your view. I'm never saying that. I'm just giving you my view on this. Personally, I don't think God's got time to be concerned with everything that's happening on earth to us. I think that when we were created, things were put in place to allow us to learn from our mistakes. Things that I've talked about before, like karma, which I believe is finished now. These were the tools used to help us learn from our mistakes that we made and grow and become better. We sometimes need to make mistakes. I teach Tai Chi, and sometimes a student will say, oh, I'm terrible. I couldn't get this right. I keep getting that wrong. Keep getting that move wrong. I always say to them, because it's true, well, you obviously know how to do it correctly. You know how to do it right. That's how you're realizing you're doing it wrong. So you know how to do it right. Just takes time sometimes, just takes practice. And that's the same for us in life. We just have to keep practicing, until we get it right. That's why we keep coming back. Now, personally, I believe we're not going to be coming back that often now, because we've reached the zenith of where we're going to become these new human beings. And we're going to become a lot more spiritually aware, a lot more spiritually based in our thinking, in our doing, in our actions, in our words. And that is coming. Watch this space, as they say. This is what Ascension is all about, what we're going through now. And I've called this video Don't Blame God, because lots of people have this idea that God should be spending his time watching us all day, and the universe is so massive we can't comprehend its size. We can't think. If you say there's trillions of galaxies, we can't comprehend a number like that. Even hundreds of thousands of galaxies, we can't really get our head around that. Galaxy is massive. So these things are so big. Imagine trying to look after a little tiny bit of this world, never mind a galaxy. So when everything was created, in my view, beings were put into the mix we call angels, archangels, and others that are here to help everything run smoothly, if you like. Now, the word angel, as you may or may not know, comes from the Hebrew word, which means basically messengers. And that's what their role mainly is. They're interfaces between us and what we know as God. Personally, I call God now Source, the source of all things. I still feel God when I connect. I don't see God like the man on the throne in the sky. I feel God. I feel unity with all. When the words used, the holy names used, I can connect with those names. I can feel those names. But usually now, when I use the thought of God, I think of the thought of source, the source of all things. Again, I'm not telling anyone they should do that. This is just how I feel. And for me, this makes perfect sense. And I was woken up again this morning. I was trying to get back to sleep, actually. I woke up fairly early. It wasn't that early, but it was six o'clock, and I'd been up really late in a fabulous space with some beautiful, beautiful souls talking about ascension and connecting with galactic beings. And they're just a place full of love and light. People that know me know what I'm talking about. But, you know, I can't really mention the names of the people there because they might not be happy. But it's a place where people are awake and on their ascension. That'll give you a clue. And it was so full of light as usual. And of course, I woke up this morning and I'm thinking, all these things come into my head. And now, of course, I've learned to write them down. That's why I'm looking down here. So I did a video a little while ago called Peace. I used the word shalom because that verb resonates with me, the word shalom. And I use the word shalom. Of course, I could have used other words like salam. I could have used words like Frieden, Deutsch, Paix, which is French. I'll probably pronounce that all wrong. Excuse me, anyone who's listening to this. Wa, which in Japanese means harmony. Heiwa, I think, means peace. Wa, being perfect harmony. It's a beautiful word, beautiful feeling. And Mir, which is Russian for peace. And what I said in this video recently was, it's up to us if we want peace. Don't ask God to cause peace. Ask you to be at peace with yourself. If each one of us is at peace with ourselves, how can there be war? How can there be upset? How can there be terrible vibrations in the world that make people want to hate each other? They can't. It can't exist. And to be honest, it doesn't take all of us to want that peace. It just takes a small minority of us to be vibrating the fact that we are at peace with ourselves in our hearts. And your heart is a vehicle of peace. It's like a Merkaba to heaven, your heart. People use that phrase a lot. It's a chariot that can take us to these heavenly places we think of as heaven. They're places that exist in other dimensions. And our heart is a vehicle that actually helps us, like I say, like the chariot, to take us to these places. We just have to be in there more often and spend time in just being in your heart space. Try and feel love. Love of the universe. Love of nature. Love of yourself. It's essential to love yourself. Again, it might take a bit of a while for people sometimes to learn that, but get on the journey as soon as you can to do that. And that helps you be at peace when you love yourself. See how you get on doing that. There's lots of ways now for people to find ways to do this. Talk about praying. And some people feel they need to pray in a church or a mosque or a synagogue or a temple. And others, like myself, can pray anywhere. Anywhere where they're alive, they can pray. Because God is everywhere. Source is everywhere. Infinite being is in everything. Because everything was created from the oneness. So everything is a part of that oneness. So for me, I like to be in nature with trees and water, running water. And there for me are the holy places. I can understand the reverence in holy churches and other places of worship because it makes people feel good. And the most important thing is for people to feel good. Good about themselves. Good about how things are going to turn out as well. And so that's what this message is about. Don't blame God for the problems of the world. Start fixing yourself best you can to help the world. Start with yourself. Love yourself. Be kind to yourself. Don't judge yourself too much. If there's things about yourself you're not happy about, don't give yourself a hard time. Just make a note and think, I'm going to change that. I'm not happy with that. I don't like that. Change it. Do something about it. And help yourself become at peace with yourself. Another thing I've noticed is how there's people around call themselves religious and God-fearing. I don't use the word God-fearing because I use the word God-loving because I love God. The days of fearing God were in the Bible. It was a long time ago. We don't need that now because we all should be loving God as God loves us. The overall message is about doing what we need to do to make this world a better place, understanding how we can help others make this world a better place. This is what we need to do each and every day, best we can. Namaste. Until next time.